Behold, I hold the holy Triforce of base design. With Phaseplant, Portal, and Bitwig at the push of a button, I also have to push play. What's good, guys? Welcome back to another video. Before I say anything, this video would not be possible without KILOHEARTS and Bitwig. Thank you guys so much for allowing me to do some really cool stuff, and I am really excited to share this with you all. So the purpose of this video, other than the funny clickbait, off Ganondorf, is to showcase and highlight how all of these features are going to come together as far as where my head's at in sound design. And together with all of these in combination, we obviously get some really cool results that can be applied to a bunch of different things. Now the thing is like, you don't need any of these in order to make great bass, and just let that be known. However, since I have it at my disposal, why wouldn't I take advantage of it? And hopefully this is just cool stuff for you all as well to geek out and make some neat little sounds or whatever. So let's go ahead and dive through the patch, and then I'll show you how it all kind of comes into play. This can also be done in Ableton, but you'll notice on some of these things, like the band effects and XYZ, which we'll cover when we get there, that there's some modulation that's happening from Bitwig. So just keep that in mind. Without further ado, let's go ahead and hop into the patch, which I will be uploading this rack on my Patreon for the higher tiers, and then I will probably put this preset for Phaseplant up at some point too for the lower tiers. All right, let's do it. So here's the patch. It's not too complicated, but it's a couple of different things. This is a common feature that I do where I generally have some kind of mid-range sound and then a separate sub on the bottom, and that's what this is. So if I play this one on its own, you'll notice that it's just a sub. Then when you combine that with the mid-range, it's a few saws with a bit of distortion. Kind of like that. I'm just going to kind of slide through these effects here that you can kind of copy off of. The rhyme or reason to it was more so just of experiment and thinking whether or not it sounds cool. The filter cutoff and the frequency is operated by these randoms. It's generally how I like to do things as opposed to LFOs these days, just because, well, it's going into Portal anyway, so throw some of that on there. We've got some chorus, a notch, some distortion, some disperser, some comb filtering. I will cover this stuff in another video. I just want you to be aware or see all the information in case if you're one of those people like me who will pause the video and then go back to editing it. Next up, we have a multiband. And this is one of the coolest things about Bitwig, in my opinion, is it has a built-in container to where it has low, mids, and highs. And so each one has a different filter on it. This one is a low pass, this one is a band pass, and this one is a high pass, kind of like your typical cone sound filtering. And then a single modulator of random is kind of automating all of these together. So after that, we have some EQ on here that's doing some creative stuff where I'm trying to boost certain frequencies, followed by an amp, which is a really strange distortion, but it's not to say that it sounds bad, it's just odd. But once you kind of tweak the settings around, it's pretty cool. I'll be talking about this in my review during the effects section a bit. So next up, we have an instance of FabFilter Saturn, and that's just giving it a little bit of extra crunch. This is a warm tube, and this is a destroy. Not really too worried about the sound overall. Then on Volcano 2, we've got some cool parallel filtering that's happening. You'll see right here that it has mid-side. The mids are being automated by a band pass, and the sides have some high passing. So you get some neat little coloration going on right there. Next up, we have some more random. I'm a big fan of the random. We don't have a multi-stage envelope yet, so I choose to do this, but this is just a low pass on low pass 4-pole that is cutting everything off. Next up, we have some dispersion. It's giving it some nice whoppy. Then we have our instance of Berserker. I haven't used this before, so I just wanted to try it out and see if it worked. So really the only thing that I'm doing is giving it a soft amount of drive, hot temperature with no input modulation, I don't think. And that's pretty much all I did to touch that. Portal goes before the multi-band compressors. These are the Xfer ones, I believe. There you go. So I just duplicated those 3 times. and that's what helps you get all those cool little artifacts. Then I have an instance of the glue. It is on trial version right now, which is fine, but I am working on, of course, purchasing this at some point because it is vital in my sound design. If you don't have some kind of glue compressor with this, you don't have to have it, but boy, does it help with things, especially when you want your mixes hecka loud, Karen. I don't know, it's so stupid. So next up we have an instance of Pro L2, and then that is just making sure that nothing peaks, and I guess I'm just boosting the signal a bit. So once you've done all that, as you can tell, you throw an instance of Portal in there, and then you start tweaking all the knobs and stuff. I know that by request, I've had some people ask me the whole breakdown of Portal, but I do have another video up about how I use these settings. The one that I actually had on the project that I didn't save was actually a low-pass filter, and then also some bus compression on this, which is pretty cool. This doesn't have a soft clip, but it's cool that it does have some kind of bus system built into it, which I think is very neat and useful. And then you kind of just send effects through it and do stuff, and then bump up the gain maybe a little bit and start tweaking knobs and go crazy. And then you get these really long sound audio chunks like this. Sometimes you get some rhythmic stuff that sounds great, sometimes you don't. It kind of depends, but as you can tell, sometimes you get some really cool stuff. So it's kind of up to you to go and take all these things and chop them up, which isn't too much of a big deal if you kind of work fast and you develop a knack for it the more that you practice this. But as you can tell, with a combination between all of these, of using Phaseplant for the source, using Bitwig's modular so I can use a wide range of effects and have some really cool modulation that's happening between all the moving filters and stuff. And then the Portal thing, of course, is a great granular effect to kind of top everything off. So with these in combination, you can kind of see the sound design possibilities that, for one, I'm exploring at the moment, but two, kind of just, oh man, I don't even know what to say. There's so many different things that we can do with this, and this, yeah, I have a lot of third-party plugins, but you can just go into the first-party ones and get a lot of the same results. But it's so much fun to do. And once you set it, you can save these racks and then just kind of hit F and then turn one thing as opposed to trying to turn 50 million different things at once and see what you get. That is why, to me, this is the Triforce of bass. If you're interested in this rack, I will be posting it for the month of January's high tier on Patreon, which I will leave a link in the description. I needed a break because I've just been slaving away at doing the Bitwig review stuff, which I've enjoyed a lot, but I'm also trying to be a little bit more meticulous in making sure that my content is more accurate and wanted to make sure that I can deliver the best experience for you all possible. But thank you guys so much for sitting through and watching this video. I hope that you learned something and have a wonderful time with your sound design. Happy holidays and happy producing. Behold, I hold the trolley.